All right, looks like we're good to go. For some odd reason, OBS decided, you know what, I'm just going to shut off inexplicably for no apparent reason. So, I had to bump that back up again right as it hit like 1 o'clock. So, weird stuff. But I'll worry about that later. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. I hope your day has been well. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully, yes, the dulcet tones of one Kyushu 92. But it's a wonderful Sunday afternoon, and it's time for more Sakamoto Days. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Yo, peoples! Kyushu 92 here, and welcome back to yet another live reading of Sakamoto Days. Last we left out on, while we had Shin trying to beat up Tenkyu due to him pretty much putting the mindset of, like, threatening both Aoi and Hana in the air, and how he intends to, kill Sakamoto, Shin pretty much just tries to take him out, and Tenkyu is confused about what's happening. So while that's going on, we get Atari, Ms. Hoshi, and Mr. Daikyo, who crash into the area where Tenkyu and Shin are. Hold on, I need to adjust my webcam so it doesn't move at all. That'll be something. Hold on. Because I don't want it to move too much. That's the reason why I have, like, I have it braced up so that it doesn't move at all. I also need to stop making it a habit of leaning on my desk for that to happen. All right, we should be good. But, Hoshi, Atari, and Daikyo crash into the area where Shin, Heisuke, and Tenkyu are, and then it gets revealed that, Shin is not the fortune teller of the JAA, it's actually Atari. And it's not only that, but we also see that Daikyo tries to take out Tenkyu because Atari says that's the person that will bring about the calamity of the jail. So Daikyo tries to beat up on Tenkyu, who still has nothing on but just shorts. And as soon as it's revealed that Atari is actually the JAA fortune teller and not Shin, Daikyo gets his entire torso separated by Tenkyu, who says, it's fine for me to kill you all now, which is a bad situation due to the fact that Tenkyu is considered the only successful assassin from Alkmaar. Now, I incorrectly stated that the reason why, Uzuki, Kumanomi, and all of his friends from Alkmaar were considered failures by Alkmaar because they weren't strong enough. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I was actually they're not considered failures from Alkmaar because they lack the strength, but because they still have their emotions. So now we have Shin and everyone gonna have to deal with Tenkyu now that he knows that Shin lied to him. So let's see what happens in chapter 190. I know it was a bit of a long synopsis, but let's begin with days 190. 1 in 10. You were lying, Shin. And it's Heisuke, Shin, and Atari there with Miss Hoshi. Daikyo, he did. You're actually friends with Taro Sakamoto. How scary. Wait, Tenkyu, we don't want to fight you. And Tenkyu, with his... Because the thing with characters is you can tell the emotion in their eyes. And the way Tenkyu is drawn is you can't gather any sort of emotion out of his eyes whatsoever. They're just, I wouldn't call them blank, but there's no emotional life in them, and he's just looking. And in an instant, Tenkyu tries to shoot Shin in the face. First of all, where is this Joker getting these arrows from? I just talked about this in the last chapter. He ain't got no quiver with him. What is he shooting? But Shin manages, he sees. He uses like his future sight or premonition. He uses that to see a little bit, and it shows Tenkyu was just blankly staring at him, and then all of a sudden there's an arrow directly in front of Shin's face, but he manages to dodge out of the way. the way these scenes are drawn, there's such detail, like the muscle definition of Tenkyu, the details of the buildings in the background. Even the way Shin is dodging, there's still details on his clothes, but it's also slightly blurred to emphasize that he's, speeding. He's moving quickly. I have no choice. And Shin tries to knock away Tenkyu, and Tenkyu's steady looking, and then Heisuke grabs Tenkyu puts him in a chokehold. Tenkyu, I'm sorry we lied, yo. Let's talk this over. Heisuke, get back! Because while Tenkyu is somehow, where is he getting these arrows from? Are you keeping these arrows in your prison pocket? Like where are you getting these arrows from? You don't have a quiver on you. Where are you keeping them? But Tenkyu is getting ready with another arrow, so while that's happening, Tenkyu flips the arrow around, and he drops the arrow, and catches the arrow. Heisuke, get back! He catches the arrow in his toes. Flips his bow around, and then aims his bow directly at Heisuke's face, just with his feet. With his feet, he aims at Heisuke, and Heisuke dodges out of the way with enough time to, avoid getting killed. Heisuke! And then it shows Tenkyu jumping away, and he jumps up right next to this other prisoner going, "What's with all the commotion today?" And Tenkyu, with no emotion on his face and no arrow, he draws his bow. Oh, what is this thing made of? He draws his bowstring from his bow, but he lets it snap back into place, slicing this random prisoner's head straight through. And in doing so, it's not even just he's decapitated him. He took the dude's face in half. Not head off, but face in half. The bowstring whipped so quickly, it cut clean through this guy's face. And in doing so, it sprays blood in Shin's direction and splatters him. And Tenkyu readies another arrow with that same emotion. There's a difference between a regular smile and an emotionless smile. He manages to shoot off yet another arrow towards Shin with that same sigh smile on his face. He dodged again. Shin must be the one with ESP. And Heisuke's looking, going, "Tenkyu, chill!" And Heisuke's holding a gun at him. Oh, no arrows. Where were you getting them before? What you mean, no arrows? You were carrying them with you the entire time, and now all of a sudden you got them. Where were they coming from? What you mean, no arrows? You were pulling them out of thin air before. Why are you complaining about no arrows now? How does that work? Do you operate in hammer space? Is this our first reality-breaking character in Sakamoto who can just pull stuff out of thin air? Huh? Oh, no arrows. And Heisuke fires, and Tenkyu takes his bow and arrow and pulls it back and stretches it as far as he can. I'm done. I've seen so many crazy things in this series. I keep thinking that maybe I've seen the height of crazy, but no, this series just keeps going like, no, but wait, there's more, and just, I'm done. What more can you do to make me get up out of my chair in disbelief? Let me tell you why. Tenkyu draws his bowstring back, and then lets it snap back into place just as the same bullet that Heisuke shot hits the bowstring, and then he proceeds to rebound Heisuke's bullet and fire it back at him, hitting him in the shoulder. Too long didn't read. Heisuke shot Tenkyu. Tenkyu allowed the bullet to hit his bowstring, and then, while it's still drawn back, let it snap back so he could shoot Heisuke with that same bullet. I've read so many different series where crazy things happen. You know, an individual that can bring the mathematical concept of infinity into reality, being able to stop everything around him, or an individual that can cleave the world around him with just like a singular hand sign, or people who are capable of achieving inhuman levels of durability and strength by being devoid of cursed energy. People who are capable of stretching their bodies to inhuman degrees, or people whose bodies are so nigh impenetrable that not even man-made weapons can penetrate them. Yet why is it that Sakamoto Days just continues to put me in a state of disbelief when I see some of this crazy stuff happen? Because it's people. None of them have superpowers. None of them are metahumans. None of them are aliens. None of them are mutants. This is all just physical power. Except for Atari and Shin. So when I see this, I'm just like, this is ridiculous. And I read One Piece, and that series just lives on ridiculous. But this... oh, I'm just going to catch your bullet with my bowstring. You realize how thin a bowstring is for you to be accurate enough to not only let the bullet catch in the middle of your bowstring and then fire it immediately back at the attacker and you hit that person in the shoulder with perfect accuracy? I need water. I need water. I need water. I need water. Good Lord. He redirected my bullet with his bowstring? I know for some people they're going to be wondering why I'm taking so long on this concept. It's just that it just racks my brain. Also deal with it. I go on these tangents. He redirected my bullet with his bowstring? Anything that can fly could be an arrow. He's good. Seamless close and long distance combat. Tenkyu's fighting style is full of surprises. And then all of a sudden, while Shin is thinking about just how capable Tenkyu is directly next to him. Mind you, Shin is looking directly at Tenkyu. Then all of a sudden, Tenkyu is directly beside him and knocks him through a wall. Afterwards, Tenkyu is coming after him. Stop! And Shin tries to mentally stop him. And it doesn't do anything, because Tenkyu then proceeds to try and fire on him. I can't freeze him? Why? And Tenkyu is just looking at him. And when that happens, Atari jumps out of the hole that Tenkyu made. And mind you, the space that Tenkyu knocked Shin into is basically a deep apartment area where they're high off the ground. And Shin is just falling between these buildings. And Ms. Atari, the JAA fortune teller, she just jumps out there after Shin and just goes to hold on to him.
It's okay. Ignore his attacks. Just focus on me.
And she's just looking at Shin with her big old eyes. Quit looking at me with those big old eyes. But she's just looking at him with her eyes. And Tenkyu starts taking bars. Just takes bars off of windows. Steel bars. And just rips them off and starts to use them as arrow. You're in the way. And Shin ignores Tenkyu and just focuses on Atari. And while they're falling through the air, not a single shot from Tenkyu hits. We see everywhere where it whizzes past their wrists, over the shoulder, around the head, around the feet and the legs. It goes everywhere except finding a single hit on both Atari and Shin. Not a single one found the mark. And Tenkyu is actually surprised that not a single arrow hit, because Tenkyu has been 110% accurate with every shot he's done. This is the first time he actually misses. Well, this is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He misses all 11 shots on Shin and Atari. Not a single arrow hit? Unreal. It feels like we're okay.
With my lucky item, my fortune today is extraordinary. All of my wishes will come true.
Then there's a light as it shows. There's a light and flash as it shows both Shin and Atari falling, I guess, into a massive garbage pile. Yet they're fine. Why did you? And then Atari immediately starts scooping up a whole bunch of garbage in a plastic bag. What are you doing? Metal scraps?
The chances of life emerging on Earth were 1 in 10 to the 40,000th power.
To the 40,000th decimal point? The chances of life emerging on Earth.
The chances of life emerging on Earth were 1 in 10 to the 40,000th decimal point.
Huh?
Equivalent to the chances of putting the parts of a watch in a bag and shaking it and having them reassemble inside the bag.
And Atari, mind you, she just took a whole bunch of scrap and just put it inside of a bag, and she starts shaking the bag. What are you?
In other words, we're insanely lucky. Astronomically, in fact.
I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna be calm. I'm gonna be calm. I just got done leaving my chair because Tenkyu fired an already shot bullet back at the person by catching it in his bowstring. Atari just took a bag full of scrap. And while she's describing this very 1 in 40 million chance, I'm just throwing that number out there, of a watch going into a bag disassembled, someone shaking the bag, and it comes out reassembled. She takes this. I'm not opening my eyes because I just want to dwell on this. She takes this bag full of scrap, shakes the bag, and out pops a fully assembled pistol. I gave myself hiccups. This series, I'm sorry.
In other words, we're insanely lucky. Astronomically, in fact.
Astronomically. Wow, I can't even say the word astronomically. That was bad. I couldn't even say it then.
Astronomically, in fact.
And Shin, perfect timing. Family calling in. Give me a sec. Perfect timing. Family was talking about food. But Shin pulls out, she shakes up the bag, and Shin pulls out an entire pistol. A gun? How on earth did she? And then all of a sudden, Shin shoots past Tenkyu and hits something in the background that causes an explosion that actually hits Tenkyu. Gah! A gas explosion? Was that luck too? And while all this debris is falling around, Tenkyu falls to the ground, and both Shin and Atari are gone. They got away. And a door seems to have closed behind them. Wow, the real fortune teller's mind-blowing. If I get a hold of her, maybe Kay will be happy. And he's smirking while he's wiping blood from his nose. This is the first time we're seeing an actual injury on Tenkyu. He didn't even have like a lasting injury when Shin punched him in the face. And that's the end of the chapter. Okay, all right. Let's see. Tenkyu's a wizard? Yeah. And here you thought Sakamoto's fighting style was insane. Oh, no, the thing is also Calzone, it is good to see you, and Madala, it's good to see the both of you. Thank you for being here. This chapter is out of this world. Calzone. Oh my, I got up out of my chair. The moment I saw Tenkyu. Not only did he, like, let's just talk about the things that Tenkyu can do, okay? Can we just talk about that for a second? Can we just analyze that for a second? This man is pulling arrows out of, I don't know where. Suddenly runs out of arrows, and he just starts using the bowstring as a weapon. He took a dude's head off just so he could splatter blood in Shin's face so he would be distracted. This man can fight with he can fire his bow with his feet with deadly accuracy. The man caught a already actively in the air bullet aimed at him, and then proceed to not only catch the bullet with his bowstring, but also fire it back in a way where even Heisuke could not dodge away from it. Heisuke's been shot in the shoulder with his own bullet. So that's... the people in Sakamoto days are just fundamentally insane. All of them. But Tenkyu? Nah, he gives me like... What's a very capable person that can, in any series, that can adapt to any singular situation? Is this Joker like the Maharaga? Is he like the Maharaga of Sakamoto days? Hold on, I want to look up Tenkyu. I want to look him up. Tenkyu. Okay, skills and abilities. Let's see. Skill level said that Tenkyu is the only successful product of the Alkmaar orphanage, and that keeping him around was too dangerous. Highly skilled archer. Okay, so it has not updated from today's chapter. It has not updated it, but okay. Also Atari. Can we talk about how your luck is so high? And she says it's so extraordinary. You just take a bag and then just scoop up a whole bunch of scrap. Just random scrap. You're not picking them up piece after piece. You're just like taking a bag and just dragging it through a pile of scrap. And then you shake up the bag. And then a gun pops out. A fully functional pistol that Shin can use just pops out of the bag. Who are you? Domino? Are you Domino? Because Domino has like a luck-based mutant ability. Domino's from Marvel, by the way, if you don't know. She's a person that has like this mutant ability to affect probability in favor of her. Where, say for instance, a whole bunch of rubble was falling down on top of her. Her luck would not activate if she stood still. But if she started moving to avoid these things, it would cause her body and everything around her to function in a way where she would just move out of the way and she would not be hit by a single piece of rubble. Not only does Atari have extraordinary, astronomically high levels of fortune-telling power, which allowed both her and Shin to be completely safe while they're being shot at by 10Q. Mind you, 10Q has been 120% accurate. Yes, I went up a full 10% since the last time I said it. He's been 130% accurate with all of his shots. And yet, he shot at both Atari and Shin because he was aiming at Shin and he was just saying, you're in the way. And as soon as he fired, Atari says, don't focus on him, just look at me. Don't even worry about him. Don't try to move out of the way, just look at me. And they don't really move. While they're airborne, mind you. You know, the space where it's hard for an average person to just dodge out of the way of something, they just remain motionless in the air as they just fall through the air, and not a single arrow hits. You know, arrows shot by someone who's 140% accurate with all of his shots. Not a single one hit. So not only is she like an incredibly capable fortune teller, but she is also one of the luckiest individuals to exist. They're all magicians. 10Q, Atari, Nagumo, all of them. Every last one of them. Every last one of them. Every last person. All of them are magicians. Some of them are magicians with illusions. Some of them are magicians with strength and speed. Everyone is just magic. They're just magic. Every single one of them. And you would think that after all the chapters that I've read of this series, as we are pretty much 10 chapters away from 200 chapters of Sakamoto Days, you would think I'd be used to this nonsense. But no. I think what really sells it for this series is how they emphasize the ridiculousness and how they illustrate the ridiculousness of this series. Like, it's one thing to say, like, oh, he just fired my bullet back at me. But they go the extra mile to show you, hey, this is the bullet hitting the bowstring in this moment. And he's letting the bowstring loose. And then you see Heisuke get shot by it. They emphasize the crazy. They make sure that you pay attention to the craziness that happens. And I'm just like, 190 chapters of Sakamoto Days, and this series continues to baffle me with its basically superhuman absurdity. I love this series, but you know what scares me though? Is the fact that this whole thing with 10Q is just something that's happening with 10Q. This is just what's happening in the jail. This is just what's happening in the jail. And this is just 10Q. We still got Sakamoto out there dealing with Torres, trying to train with him so he can be, even more capable. And everything that Torres can do, everything that Miss Osaragi can do, everything that Shishiba can do, Nagumo, Oki. We don't even know what Oki can do. And he's the head of the order. So that's actually something that kind of concerns me as well. Out of every single capable person that is in the order, Oki's the head of it, and we've never seen him do anything remotely close to fighting. We've seen him talk, but we haven't seen him fight. I think he scares me. He scares me. But not as much as Miss Osaragi, because Osaragi, she just flat out scares me. But yes, this good chapter. Sorry, I'm droning on. I am droning on. Please forgive me. This whole series is ridiculous, but in a good way. All I can say is, for the animation studio that's in charge of us getting Sakamoto Days, the anime, I really hope they do this series justice. I saw the official trailer, I want to say yesterday or the day before yesterday, and animation-wise, I think it looks good. Like, I saw some segments like Sakamoto versus Hard Boiled at the amusement park, And I saw that during the trailer, and I thought, you know what, that looks kind of good. But we'll have to see how the fighting looks altogether, like in one seamless go. So hopefully the animation studio does this series justice. But overall, I did enjoy this chapter. It's just that you'll have to forgive me. When I see absurd stuff like this, it takes a while for me to just accept it. Because I don't. I don't accept the absurdity because I'm just wondering how. I know this is a common thing that happens, but how? How are you doing this? How are you this capable? Who taught you? How are you capable of firing bullets back at people when they shoot you? You realize how fast bullets are? For a person to not only see the bullet, but also have their bowstring in the path of the bullet so they can just reflect it back at the person so effortlessly? No, these people aren't normal. These jokers ain't normal. Ain't no one of these jokers normal. Ain't nobody in Sakamoto Days normal. There's not a single normal person in Sakamoto Days except for Aoi and Hana. That's it. Everyone else is just inhuman. But I think that's what makes the series so great. But overall, this was a good chapter. But it's gonna take me maybe about an hour. I think it's gonna take me an hour because I can't just accept this as is. I can't just accept the absurdity and just roll on. I gotta talk about it. But this series is just ridiculous in a good way. But I also need to talk about how this chapter was drawn. Specifically, the moment where Tenkyu tries to fire directly at Shin, and we just see the detail in the hair, the Tenkyu's muscles, and like the background shots. Also, another good shot as well was Atari falling with Shin, and all of these shots from Tenkyu just completely just completely miss them. That's also a very, very beautifully drawn panel as well. And I have to say, Sakamoto Days has some of the best imagery I've seen in manga. Really well done. All of it is really well done. I could just stare at this art with no words all day because it's just that good. But, ladies and gentlemen, I am done with today's reaction. How long do you think it's going to be before we get a Sakamoto Days video game? I'm calling it now. There's going to be some dumb schmo that thinks, you know what? Let's not make a Sakamoto Days game on consoles. Let's make it into a mobile gacha. What time is it? It is 1:35 on the 17th of November in the year 2024. Watch someone do it. Because if they can do it to Tokyo Revengers and Jujutsu Kaisen and Bleach and Seven Deadly Sins, still waiting on Origins, all these different solo leveling. I'm not about to go on this tangent about the solo leveling video game being mobile only. I'm not about to. But after season 1, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if they try to create a Sakamoto Days mobile game and just turn it into like a mobile gacha. I would not be surprised. When are we going to get real anime games again? We got Sparking Zero, but when are we going to get real anime games on consoles? Stop turning them into gachas. No. I gotta stop. This isn't a stream for me to go on tangents about why anime should stay on console games and not just be mobile gacha games. Not the time. Not the time, nor the place. I can do that in a completely different, separate stream. But overall, Madela, Calzone, thank you for being here. And everyone else who has happened to watch me, just in case you're watching this after the stream is over, thank you for stopping by. If you made it to the end, hey, you're the real MVP, and I appreciate you. All I can say to every single one of you is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. Once again, as always, later, peoples.